Welcome back. We are still discussing how one can save and invest during this recession. And with me here is Baba Shola. That takes me to the next question. It says, what are the likely impacts of recession on growing business?
Well, the likely impact of recession
On growing
business
yes,
is that we'll
yes.
have a high rate of unemployment, high rate, which we already have in the country right now. High rate of unemployment, then businesses struggling to survive, and as a result, giving us substandard goods and products. So it's really going to be very, very tough on growing businesses. But that's the real impact that we're going to have on such business, except government rolls out intervention funds.
Yeah. They said Nigeria has already come out of recession by some percentage. How do you look at that?
That's not true. Nigeria has always been in recession.
They say they are out of recession by so and so percentage.
Most of this news,
98% or something about.
And most of this news they give us, they are just celebrated news.
You see?
Ever since I've been growing up, I've always known Nigeria to be in recession. From the days of austerity, from the days of all those likes, we've always been in recession. So that is why when they say recession, did you feel it? I didn't feel it. Did you feel it? No. That was nothing so special. I didn't feel it. So we were born in recession. So we've always been in recession. So we always know how to survive the recession. So the figures they are giving us, they are irrelevant. I don't need to get those figures. All I just need to do is I know my way out of the recession.
Get your limited edition packs now before the final whistle blows.
Yeah, just mention it. Hunger everywhere. The impact is going to have. No, there's not much food for people and all that, because recession is not it is something everyone works on. Even though in this introduction it mentioned that from time to time it has even been there even from Bible days. But we're going to come out well. And that's my hope for everyone. So what are the key factors responsible for the emergence of new businesses now that we're in recession, for example?
I'm going to narrow down the key factors to just one.
And also the profitability of existing business during recession.
I'm going to narrow it down to just one. That is innovation.
Innovation,
yes, creating new platform for value. You see, whenever there is recession, the solution to recession is innovation, coming up with new ideas. Now, take for instance COVID-19 now. COVID-19 has really opened a lot of people's eyes.
I tell you.
Yes, to business. A lot of people never believed they could do business. My wife never believed she could do business, but COVID-19 actually opened her eyes, and she was able to come up with different kinds of business. And I have a lot of friends. So one of the benefits, or how will I put it now, one of the key factors is innovation, the ability to think, the ability to generate ideas, and the ability to help people solve their problems. And which people are willing to pay for. Now, permit me to give you, to share a little story.
That's fine.
A little story to break it down for our audience so that they can actually grab what we are talking about. There are, I think in the 1930s, when there was recession in America, there was these two guys from America that traveled to India on holiday. And when they got to India, and India at that time was struggling with their economy, and the next thing the other guy saw was that almost half of the people he met on the road were trekking barefooted. And he began to think, and the other guy was laughing and was calling the attention of his friends. See, these people are so poor that they can not even afford to get themselves shoes. So this guy got thinking, what could have been responsible? Though it's not that bad in our own country. Why is that almost everybody I see on the road cannot afford to buy a shoe? So when they got back to America, he was in the classroom, and his body was in the classroom, but his spirit was in India. So he was seeing the crowd walking barefooted. And as the lecturer was lecturing, he was designing a shoe.
Can you imagine?
Now the problem is, okay, the people are in recession. They cannot afford to buy a shoe. So what he was simply doing was designing an affordable shoe that even the beggar, the poorest of the poorest, can afford.
Buy.
So he did that. He did a prototype product, took it to an investor. An investor said, are you sure of what you're talking about?
Yes.
And they went for mass production. They took advantage of India's population. As the ship was landing in India, and the shoes were sold at the cheapest amount that anybody can afford. Within 2 days, the sales was gone. Everything was bought. Everything was bought. And that guy became the first, become a millionaire at a very, very tender age. Now, what am I talking about right now? The ability to capture solution when you see problems.
A problem, yeah.
In the midst of recession, we are in problem right now. But the ability to capture solution, that's where the secret lies of coming out of recession. And that is where the profitability also
comes
lies.
in, yes.
Yeah, most of these businesses we are talking about right now, apart from being innovative, you also need to diversify. There are some businesses you are doing right now that is not making you, not yielding you the income you intend. You can also diversify. You know, okay, let me give you another instance. Now, I know a member of my church, he was complaining about low sales in his tire sales and everything. But one day he heard about the teaching that you can diversify. And the next thing the guy did was to gather money together and went and bought a minibus. He went and bought a minibus, he got a loan, and right now as I speak to you, he's on the streets doing transportation while his shop is still open selling tires.
Somebody is there, yeah.
And somebody is there. So he's making money on a daily basis. But while he was seated at his shop,
you may not even have one customer.
2 weeks he will not get any customer. But the ability to diversify saved him a whole lot.
Yeah. So like he said that there's always a recession, but the beauty part of it is that always come out of it and come out of it really good. This part of it now, you know, there's recession, but this young man he just mentioned grabbed the opportunity for diversification and he's able to create. In fact, if guy's not taking, he might even be an employer of labor because somebody is in the shop taking care of the shop. So at least there's a plus somebody. You know, one person. Before you know it now, it will just grow like that. And profit will also come in, not only from one stream, from the other motor he drives. You also get profit. So that is what we are trying to, Mr. trying to pass to you, that you don't just relax. The recession, oh, there's no hope. There's always hope in every situation. We'll take a break, and then when we resume to question and answer a session. Vivid View, say and do it.
My name is Oluwafemi Emmanuel. I have 2 questions with me. Number 1 says, what are the causes of economic recession? Okay. Then number 2 says that, as recession truly bring out the creativity in us?
I am Oluwafemi Balogun, and I have a question for Mr. Yumi. As a youth trying to create products, we need funds, but our investors are not forthcoming. What do you do about that?
My name is Olawale. I want you to kindly explain how the public can invest in Treasury bills.
My name is Princess Peters, and my question is this. In the process of looking for an investor, how do you protect your idea from being stolen or executed by the investor behind your back?
Welcome back. The questions are already asked by the audience. So, I guess, your response.
Yeah, responding to the first question, which is the causes of economic recession. We have 2 main factors that are responsible for economic recession. We have the internal factor and we have the external factor.
Yeah.
The internal factor is as a result of misapplication of economic policies. And when government brings out some economic policies that is not too good for the country, it can throw the country into economic recession.
Of balance, yes.
Then the external factors are beyond what anybody can control. It could be as a result of war. It could be as a result of natural disasters. Those ones are out of anybody's control. But those 2 factors are mainly responsible for economic recession.
National disaster like earthquake, all those stuff, you know, those are what we mean by national disasters. Okay?
Yeah, the second question says, does recession bring out the creativity in us? Yes, from history, recession has really been the catalyst for creativity. You know, there's nothing hunger cannot do. When you are hungry, then you can come up with anything. Now, let me give you an example there was a story of Richard Branson, or one of these entrepreneurs that I heard in those days. You know, he was trying to be very creative. He was trying to come out of his own personal recession. And he came up with an idea during that economic hardship. And he was looking for people to finance his, what's it called? His project.
The project, yeah.
So he had to think of something. He had to bring two big giants in the production industry, in the beverage industry, and gave them invitation and told the first corporation that we need your presence in the launch of this product, that your competitor has agreed to be there. Meanwhile, the competitor has not agreed to be there. So that was the other company heard it, and they said, okay, don't worry, we'll be there. So on that day, the two competitors were there, and they, you know, graced the occasion, and the product launch was fine. What am I talking about now?
So eventually, he also told the other one that the competitors will also be there.
Exactly. So both of them
Wonderful.
came with money, came with all the things to impress themselves. And at the end of the day, the young man had a field day.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. So it was
one.
out of you know, financial hardship. He had to think, if I don't do it this way, I will die of hunger. So he had to come up with something.
That's a good one.